This is you're looking at the class right now. If you want to participate in it, this is when you participate in it. Or you can watch recordings of my classes later. Don't really submit homework, but you're free to upload stuff to the feedback sections of my Discord and the homework sections of the Discord if you want feedback on stuff. In the future, we're going to be assigning more animation stuff, though. That's actually also part of what this is right here. This is a character design for an animation I want to do right here. So we're going to get started on a warm-up set. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes, 30 seconds. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes, 30 seconds.
20 minutes and 30 seconds. And we're starting now.
All right. So let's get more people in Magnet Studio if we can. But I'm going to get started on some warm-ups. So these are just warm-ups, just keep them simple and just get your hand moving and stuff. I have some other stuff I was doing earlier today and yesterday I want to share later. So I wanted to hopefully get us to the point where we could start doing some animation this Saturday, but I don't think that we're going to do that this week. There is another animator I'm talking to about trying to form some kind of a curriculum for animation. Like we need some kind of like a logical progression of what we do and so on. Yeah, to elaborate on that person who came in here apparently discovering my class from Twitter. These are free. This is the class. There's no sign-ups. You just come in and you participate. You can choose to participate traditionally or drawing on your own drawing app, or you can use the Magnet Studio links that are in my Discord to draw collaboratively on screen with other people. I do use the for the Magnet Studio link. If you're drawing in Magnet Studio, that increases the likelihood that I'm probably going to do a demo on using some of your stuff too, because I get a nice bird's eye view of everyone drawing from where I'm sitting here. One of the things we're going to be doing tonight is during the break we're going to be replenishing our stock of figures a little bit. Because it actually doesn't really take that long to do it. Take about 5 or 10 minutes to do it. Usually our breaks around between 5 and 10 minutes, so I've got something to think about here. And maybe do a little bit of continuation of what I was doing before class, which is developing this character. So it's based on a live streamer that they had a really funny moment in one of their recent YouTube videos that I want to animate. And so I'm doing like a character design that's loosely kind of based on how they look in real life. Of course, when you respawn in Rust, you're naked, except for like, unless you got like underwear options on or something. Or underwear censorship on. So I'm skipping that. I'll probably keep it like that because that seems a little bit more. This little kind of flag hanging thing is kind of fun to draw. But he's an Asian dude. He looks about like this. Like, he's got kind of. My impression of his head is something like this, where like I can keep the mouth pretty low, the eyes up pretty high, and then I've sort of simplified how his hair works into something that looks a little bit like a pompadour. I'm kind of biased towards pompadours, but he doesn't really have a pompadour, but this is just kind of a play on his actual hair shape.
I'll bow down before the bite of the mighty Kuwabara.
So what happened, I'm not sure if I'll be able to play it here, but so he was trying to run distraction using mic spam on some guys that they were trying to attack and like steal the kits of. He said, hang on guys, I'm gonna run distraction. Hey, lower your audio, I'm gonna do some mic spam. And so he gave everyone fair warning, and then he's like, and then he like puts like this really crunchy like mic volume boost voice filter over himself, and then he starts going, oh yeah, just over and over again. It sounds like a fucking mutant spawn of a hybrid spawn of Wario and him, basically. it's just so stupid, and of course it does not fucking work. They immediately all get gunned down like in seconds. And but then like the guys they were trying to attack, like pick up Coco, and then Coco just keeps doing the oh yeah at them, and there's like this moment where they're like the guys are just staring at them awkwardly, and then Coco like kind of starts corpsing and starts giggling basically, and just how absurd what he's doing is. And so it's him on the mic spam still going, like the mic spam volume still going, but like busting up laughing. And then he eventually calms down, he changes his mic back to normal, and he goes, can we get some guns, man? Like, they give him some guns. The guys just give him some guns, and then they go sheepishly away. And then Coco later on, like, is like he's kind of the absurdity of what happened is kind of setting into him a bit more. So he just like starts laughing, and he has to get up AFK from his keyboard to just walk around and blow it off. And you could hear him like in the background, like way in the background away from his mic, going, "Oh yeah." And so his chat feed for like the next day or so was like mostly spam of people going, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." So I'm planning on, I'm gonna maybe do like some fan art key poses of it, and then I want to do some animation of it. So I get a basic character design. I'm gonna have to do character designs of the other Rust streamers. I'll try to keep them simple though. Like he's the most he's gonna be moving the most in the whole thing, so it's okay if I just keep the no, not the other streamers, the other players. If I keep them just like really, really simple and crude, it'll be fine. Like I can just even like use like a box body kind of like this or something. And like I can have them like not moving very much because it's like it's all about Coco just acting like an idiot. Something like this. Like one of the guys had like this kind of. Have you seen like those have you seen like those outfits of like a mirror, of like a mirror shard body and stuff, like an Instagram or whatever? It's like a suit made out of mirrors and stuff. So this guy was wearing a skin that was like based on that basically. So he got like a mirror face and a mirror body. One of the guys who was like reacting to him. Ooh, I could use that. I could show like a close-up of the guy's body or his face or something, and then there's just like a whole bunch of I'll take the same animation and then just like offset it a whole bunch, and then it looks like it's a refracted mirror of Coco. Just when he starts breaking up and giggling, he like looks in the guy's face or something. That'd be pretty good to use. Like, let's make something like oh yeah, or can do like little kind of like tiny windows to like different parts of Coco's face and body or something, just randomly in there. He was streaming again earlier today, by the way. Coco. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll link the video later so you can watch it on your own. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that's looking in the ballpark of what I want to go with the other characters. Maybe thicken their body up a bit because they're wearing body armor. You got to keep him simple, but this guy I want to do something with. Because he's got that like crazy mirror grid, that also means like I probably shouldn't have him move very much, if at all. If I do, it'll be like a copy-paste element or something that tracks with his body of like the mirror shit. Like this. Got the gloves on, so he's fully kitted. Oh yeah. The road sign girdle or whatever. They don't have to go like full detail, just as long as you get the shapes in of the character. like Coco doing like the freak out stuff, like yeah. Be an opportunity for me to just mess with like really crazy posing. I'm thinking of something like I'll just do a lot of cuts between like the different oh yes, and I have him doing something really bizarre. Like he could be like gyrating his hips up or something like that. Oh yeah. Guy's got kind of Boba Fett or Mandalorian energy to him, so I'll probably try to get some of that in there. Just, yeah. There's like two guys. They were both kind of staring at him. Put like a little fence in the background there. So I'm like, yeah. So I am going to do a figure drawing tonight too, and I'll do a demo as well. But I'm also going to be doing like little bits of story development for this idea too. I have some other things to share that I've been doing for a different story, actually 2 other different stories in addition to this. So 3 stories that I've been working on little bits and pieces for. Hey Coco, what's the noise that Kool-Aid Man makes when he goes through a wall? Oh, yeah. No. I should draw. No, that should be one of the gags. Like one of them, because he was behind a stone wall. He was behind a stone wall when he got downed originally. Maybe I should just have him come out as like Kool-Aid Man, or something, for like one of the oh yeahs. See if we can do Kool-Aid Man from memory, like this.
I mean, he's basically just a pitcher with eyes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. There's the mirror face dude. I think maybe looking at him. Oh yeah. I should have him briefly morph into Wario at some point, maybe. Something like this, like, just sort of like one of the ah yeahs. Like a little... Wario Waluigi mustache. Ah, yeah. He does actually a lot more ah yeahs in the from the YouTube video. The YouTube video is like a cut down version, so I can maybe use the clip of when he did it on the stream to edit it for my own purposes. if I need more. Oh, yeah. I think I like the overall posture of this guy here. That's kind of how they stand in Rust when they have like no weapons out. Like they're just very kind of hunched over, sort of. It's a very gamer pose. Like these people look like they are probably gamers. They spent all their time playing esports, so they have bad slouch posture. The gamer power stance. Okay, Google, stop. Okay, Google, set timer for 7 minutes.
7 minutes. Starting now.
So I can share some more of the stuff that I've been doing with this little 7-minute break. When you get done sketching there, make sure you save a PNG of your work, because you're going to need to clear another space to draw more. Some pretty good looking warm-ups though. There we go. Let's see if anyone else has been filling up the, there we go. Let's see. Yeah, we got about 2 people per thing. Looks like we need some more panels. If people want, more people want to, more people want to join, so I'll put in Magma Studio. Panel 6. We're skipping 5. Panel 5 is mine. Panel 6, panel 7, panel 8. That's weird. So one of the things I'm going to be trying to do next week, in addition to kind of what we're doing now, so I want to maybe see if I can use this for some anatomy thing. Like where we do a step-by-step kind of layering on, like drawing the bones together, drawing the bones and structures together, and then working up the muscles. Anyway, yeah, we got panels 6, 7, and 8 are open. There's also room for one more person on panel 4. But if you want to draw along. But yeah, I can use my admin magic to switch and storyboard beta of Magma Studio magic to swap between the different panels to see what people are doing and then do driver demos on them and stuff. This feels good, man. Anyway, I wanted to share a little bit of what I've been working on for the past couple days. I showed, like, this was something that I started sooner, I think. Okay, yeah, this is me building off of that stuff I shared last time. This, like, kind of an old story idea with, like, a werewolf fighting a kid. And I did some more development of the werewolf. And more development of the kid. A teenage kid and stuff. Some more poses of the kid right here. trying to like pin down like a little bit more of what his tone and his attitude is, and how like what I want the designs to be like. Gotta go for some pathos, like would there be a point in the story where the kid turns the tables on the werewolf and scares the shit out of him? Oh yeah, there's this. So I tried to draw a xenomorph from blind memory right here, and then I started to do some like research into how the 1979 movie costume was done. Because of the lighting conditions on the set, and I think they may have removed the thing that was on the head here, but yeah, there's more stuff underneath the xenomorph skull that you don't really see in the movie, like an actual like skull under there. Yeah, here's a diagram of how they actually like had the mask on. There's some other observations I made, like about what they do with the hands. Like the actor would very often like group his fingers. I think it was built into the gloves to like have the fingers close together like that. But if you notice, there's like an extra like pinky thumb right here. Like xenomorphs are 6-fingered, so they have like a symmetrical pinky thumb on them. And after doing a little bit of research, this is another attempt at drawing a xenomorph. There's a couple things too, like I remember those pipes on his back, but then there's like this little thing back here. This little kind of blade-like single thing that's like at the center of the back, up in the top of the spine. Like that little thing there. There's some other stuff with that kid character, kind of playing with maybe other situations he could get involved with, like maybe talking to a dragon. Some other thing with that kid from the story. Alright, so there's that or that. Let's see here. Yeah, I started looking at xenomorphs because, like, somebody mentioned, I was like, well, what are some monsters that do crawling on the ceilings and stuff? Because I wanted my werewolf to be kind of, like, vampire-like a little bit, where he... Okay, Google, stop. Where, like, he can climb up walls and ceilings, which is not very...
I didn't understand.
Which is not very wolf-like, because wolves in real life aren't very good at climbing. In fact, one of the ways you want to escape wolves is you usually climb a tree. But yeah, xenomorph stuff, I decided to look at that a little bit for fun. And I want to maybe get a few xenomorph qualities into him. Not draw him Geiger-y, but like kind of like the acting a little bit, the creature acting. Man, I barely touched my drawing space, so I'm thinking I should maybe fill up the next drawing set with figure poses, whether they be invented or whatever. So we're gonna start another figure set. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes, 30 seconds.
20 minutes and 30 seconds. Starting now.
I feel good. Music's a little loud, I think. So I'm gonna do a few kind of warm my hand up exercises here before I get too much into the figures. Some kind of flow exercise to get my hand and arm working. Some scribbles down. Alright, so I can do a vignette on this, I think. I can do that. Start with a head. Use this kind of triangle wedge to establish the head direction. We get a little bit of the side plane here. The head, just a simple oval. The center line and this triangle for the face wedge, and like a ellipse that's on the side of the head. Get like a C curve for the neck. Get an indication of the pit of the neck about here. Get like this little rhythm line here going for the clavicle. So the tops of the shoulders would be about here-ish, I want to say. Just keep things simple. These very, very simple kind of like ellipse shapes for the shoulders, just to not overcomplicate things for me. Then do two parallel lines for the curve of the arm. There. Bend to the elbow. Let's get like an indication of where the hand is blocked in there. Let's throw a rib cage in there, maybe like a box pelvis down below before I move on. Let's shrink that because it's a little large. So this guy here, I'm going to try something along those lines for him too. He's got a head that's kind of going, looking up. Get this kind of C curve of the neck, find the pit of the neck about here. His clavicle is doing something like this. Tilt of his shoulders is about that stuff. Top of his shoulders somewhere around here. Take the center line of his torso and the side of his torso. Let's use the side of his neck as a rhythm right here to create that little crease there of the bend of his body. His hips are tilting about like this. That thigh is coming towards us, so I'm just going to keep it simple. Like, we got another ellipse right here that's facing us, and there's another ellipse that's closer to that facing us. Let's draw little lines there, and that's like just a simple cylinder coming at us from the hip. So we can see a little bit of the side plane right here of this cube. But then his torso is twisting the other way, so that means we're going to see more of the side plane of his torso here. That means the corner of the rib cage is about like here-ish, I want to say. Because his torso is twisting, it's going over that way. So that's all I wanted to get. If I wanted to go further, I could like add in like simple indications of the arms and stuff like that. Alright, so same thing on this guy. We're paying extra close attention to the torso and establishing the torso and everything, because the limbs are a little easier to do once you get like the physics of the torso worked out. So this little head here, the angle of the eyes versus the angle of the side of the head, pretty easy to track with that cap too. So pit of the neck in roughly about here. I kind of went a little too early with that center line for the body, but let's see here. So his shoulders, we are able to see the top of his shoulders a little bit. So clavicle's doing kind of this. So his torso is like, the top of it is tilted towards us. It's gonna be smaller, kinda. And especially that last one. His pelvis, it appears to be tilted a little bit more towards us too. But not too much. I think it's a little bit more straightened off than his upper torso is. So I'm gonna put a rough indication of his arms here. I got 10 seconds left, so I'm just going to include a quick rough gesture of his legs right here. So this second set is almost kind of like a secondary warm-up set. So it's okay to just kind of still be getting your bearings on these. I think today it would be a good idea to favor doing mileage. I may do a demo of something that can help people, especially the newer people here, focus on something, but I think today it would be good to just focus on just getting some really raw mileage in. Paying close attention to action of the pose and stuff. We'll talk a little bit about fourth dimensionality and so on. How the figure passes through time and space. And I want people thinking in terms of like what's happening with the pose. What's the before and after? So I didn't talk my way through this drawing, so I kind of let it wander a little bit. Like I didn't really think through the clavicle or the back, and now it's kind of all over the place. Like talking through the drawings kind of enforces a little bit more of a step-by-step for me, so. That's also why I'm still getting warmed up. Can you join the Discord? Ask somebody in Twitch. Yes, you can. Actually, here, let me switch my display over here at Discord. There's the Discord link. All right, so this one, there's not really too much tilt going on. So if you just concentrate on, okay, first off, establish face direction. We're seeing it's kind of the underside of the chin a little bit. Some pit of the crotch about here. I'm just gonna indicate like sides of the legs a little bit. So even when it's stretched out like this, you can see like the bottom of the rib cage is tilted towards us and the top of the pelvis is tilted towards us. You can see that outlined on the front of their body a little bit. Let's see here, get some simple shapes in there for the shoulders. Let's get some anatomical landmark dots in there. The bottom of the rib cage, the bottom of the sternum, clavicle, tops of the shoulders, somewhere there. This is just a quick sketch study, so it's not gonna be anything terribly perfect. Just want to get like the basic idea of the figure down in the time that you have. Okay, so this dude, he's got a nice lean to his body. Very nice lean to his body. You can see a little bit of the back of his shoulders coming up over here. You can see his arm. I'm using arrows right here to indicate what direction things are moving in. You can see his other arm going back into space there. His bat coming up here. His head and his neck. He's doing a torso twist. So we see some of the side plane, his pelvis there. See the front of his pelvis here. See more of his back here, so the cube of the body is kind of, the cube of the ribcage is kind of tilted, turned over that way a little bit. This is horribly messy. Get some simple cylinder in there for the leg. Actually, here. Get the overall shape there first. Oh, not enough time to finish that. Let's get that one. Here's a good one. I think in the next set we might do 3-minute poses, because that'll give us more time to kind of pay attention to the pose than these. But this is good for warm-up set. So we've been doing quick poses all week. So we might actually slow down to pay attention to the action, because it gives us more time to push the action. So I'm probably going to have us move to 3-minute poses next, and then we might do like some 5-minute and 10-minute poses tonight. I don't know if we'll probably do like a 20-minute pose. That might be a bit much. But you're like, once you get like the basic gesture of a pose down, you can start going back in and finding like structures and anatomical landmarks, like rough structures and like about where the rib cage is or something like that. This is just a 2-minute pose, so just try to do what you can the time that you do have. You don't have to complete the whole figure. You should try to get good information in what you do. Try to always be at every stage when you're doing studies like these. Like, try to think about something that you're trying to take out of learning it or understanding it. So even if you get a partially finished drawing, you still have learned something. And the point of doing these is not to get pretty drawings anyway. The point of doing these is to understand what the heck you're looking at. And to also get used to the mechanics of drawing and observation. And it is roasting hot in this room. I'm going to open the window. We still need to install my air conditioner. We have some parts we need to work for. This room should be a lot nicer once I get that care of. Alright, ball player. So we've drawn this guy before. Some more evidence that I need to replenish my figure stock. So maybe I'll do that during the next break. I'll give us like maybe a good 10-minute break for the before the next set. And I can spend a good 10 minutes yoinking pictures for us for our next drawing set. So not enough time to really finish this. I'll just keep that as a gesture. There. Think about what I'm going to do next. I'm going to do a quick inventory of my figure puppet. Let's see here. So I have a center line with that, and the side plane of the head of my puppet has a crash test dummy sort of thing like that. It's the triangles on the front of the face there. So what's some really like fun, silly animation shows that have been coming out lately? Like some really good ass animation and really just really fun stuff. Could be anime, could be Western. What's up?
I mean, the only one I know is one you told me about, which was Kid Cosmic.
Oh yeah, that was really fun.
Already been catching up on all the shows that are already out there. So.
Mm-hmm. People are going to be able to binge watch Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles once it goes on the Paramount, the new Paramount streaming site that's coming up.
It's not new. It's just rebranded CBS All Access.
Yeah, it is. It is. Anyway, so this is a little skeletal puppet, simplified skeletal forms that I have in the back of my head when I'm doing these now. Okay, Google, stop. I may hold off on doing it. I'll hold off on doing a demo today, but we'll see. So actually a couple things I want to show off. Like, there's a couple strategies you guys could try out tonight. One of them is, like, if you're familiar with the way we draw our figure puppets, of like using the like line of action and whatnot, you could maybe use some box forms, like for the body, like that, like for the rib cage, and the pelvis right here. Just get that center line right here from the pit of the neck to the pit of the crotch down here. Pacific Rim Black I just saw recently. That was really good on Netflix. That one's getting a season 2, by the way.
Was that the anime thing?
Yeah, it's a CG anime. It has a lot of heart and personality and charm to it, and it takes everything that was good about the movies and like does more interesting things with it in some ways. Sandy asks in Twitch chat, do you have any advice for going into animation? Yes. Do a lot of observation from life. Try to understand like how people work, where weight is in when someone's standing, how weight shifts and changes when people move. Try to make observations of like the weird, peculiar personality tics that people make. When you're an animator, you've got to be a little bit of a scientist of motion. You've also got to be an artist, and you've also got to be an actor. So that means you're gonna be acting with a pencil. That means you actually have to study acting the same way that like a stage actor would. And I have done that. A lot of people, thankfully, like acting is easier to get into than you think because like we all have a sense of imagination, whatever. And when we get a good sense of ourselves and a good sense of character and stuff, it's not too hard to start like picturing ourselves as the character or acting out what the character is doing. A couple things though, like if you're going into 2D animation, you want to put a huge emphasis into becoming really good at traditional drawing. That means like traditional figure drawing and perspective and stuff like that, 3D perspective drawing and all that kind of stuff. Because if you go into animation before you really understand that stuff, it's going to be way harder for you to get good at figure drawing later. So you want to concentrate your energies on getting really good at figure drawing. So I would recommend, you're 17 years old, I would recommend looking into there's a lot of great online tutorials and things like that you can check out, like Proko's videos I strongly recommend. There's some really good, I've really got to get a list of good like YouTube channels for art resources or something together, because there's a lot of them, art and animation resources. But like Proko's channel is good. Modern Day James is good. Ethan Becker is good. But like, I've got a list in my Discord of schools I recommend, and I think your best bet for getting an animation would be to enroll. God, I was gonna yoink some figure drawings during this break. I didn't even time the break, did I? I don't think I did. Okay, Google.
I didn't even realize we were on break.
Okay, Google, how much time is left on timer?
It looks like you don't have any timers set at the moment.
Yeah, we are on break. We just did our second drawing set, so I'm gonna give it about 3 minutes. Okay, Google, set timer for 3 minutes. Okay, Google, set timer for 3 minutes.
3 minutes, starting now.
The other thing that I'll give you here, let me see. For stuff in the Discord, under Art School links, I have a Google Docs thing that I've written. I need to add some more here because there's some other things that I've become aware of that I want to add to this. But this is a list of schools that are worth their money that you should check out. So I'll post that in Twitch. Link that in the Drawing Corner Discord. Well, actually, I don't need a link in the Drawing Corner Discord. People in the Discord just check the Art School links section in my Discord. Let's see. There we go. All right, so, but just as an example, let me bring up maybe like one of the schools here, like CGMA would probably be good. So I don't know if they focus on animation here, but there is foundational 2D drawing here. Oh, that's good. 2D animation essentials. Yeah, this one would be good. Let me see what type of course this is. Okay, so I don't know if this would be the best course for like getting into actual figure drawing, but this will at least like get people started a bit. But I would maybe hold off on taking a class like this in favor of a class like this. So analytical figure drawing right here. And I'm planning on taking an analytical figure drawing class in the future. There's a lot of really good instructors that teach analytical figure drawing. It's a particular approach to figure drawing that people like Michael Hampton use, and that there's lots of other fantastic instructors. That Ron Lehman, I actually taken class with him before. He's really good. Ron Lehman's really fucking great. Ray Bustos is amazing. I don't know anything about Christian Nakata, but yeah, he's a good teacher. I can tell already. That looks really good. Here's some student gallery stuff of the kind of stuff you'll be doing if you take an analytical figure drawing class right here. Ooh, that's nice. That's very nice. See, I've actually been teaching like this too in some of the head drawing stuff. This breaks down the shapes of the heads even more complex than what I've been doing for my previous head drawing classes in here. These are really nice. So it looks like the I could probably extrapolate like some analytical figure drawing exercises out of these. So this is like week 7 of their analytical figure drawing class. Like it looks like they start with like a gesture, and then they put some structure shapes on it, and then they okay, Google, stop. And then they like build out a skeletal puppet, a structural skeletal puppet. And then they put the muscle groups on it, and they do it from reference with photo right here. For that particular exercise. That's really nice. This is actually giving me some really good ideas of stuff that I can have us doing this next week. I'm gonna see if I can find some drawing demos of some analytical figure drawing people. Let's see what their process is a little bit better. Because I've done stuff like this before, but maybe it's not this in depth. That's nice. $700. That's worth. Very worth. Uh-oh. Looks like the class is already in session right now, but yeah. Wait, course begins April 23rd.
You're off by a month.
Oh. Oh, registration. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, good. Yeah, if you want to take this, definitely check that out. Since you're 17, you probably might not be able to enroll in this just yet because there's probably going to be art nudes, but this is something to keep an eye out for the future. And there's analytical figure classes at CGMA. By the way, the same skills of what you learned there also apply to 2D animation. There's, let's see what else. There's also schoolism right here. Oops, damn it. So schoolism has online uninstructed stuff and instructed stuff. This gesture drawing with Alex Wu thing right here, this one's a really good one for beginners. Alex Wu's a figure drawing instructor at Pixar. And his is a very storytelling driven, animation oriented gesture drawing course. It's quite a bit a different school of knowledge than, but interlinked still to the analytical figure drawing. I would say that this would be a really accessible one to do for beginners. All the classes are full right there, but you can sign up for $30 a month on Schoolism to like just do the lessons yourself. We've actually been doing these, like the line of action, the shape. We've gotten as far as I think the week 4, I think, or 5. Yeah, I think we got as far as week 5 with our version of trying to ape what he does in his gesture drawing class. I might go back to that and use some of it as fodder for practice, but I do recommend signing up for that to check that out. There's also a few other things here that would be good for beginners, like let's see, drawing fundamentals with Thomas Flaherty right there. But yeah, what's that? What's this here? Deconstructed drawing people. Victor Kalashov. That might be a good one too. But yeah, there's a lot, like these really good figure drawing classes available here. Some of them are kind of more animation oriented, but like the analytical figure drawing classes are usually pretty great. And there's usually sometimes kind of like foundational classes that can help you. Brainstorm Burbank. Let's see here. Okay, these are more animation focused stuff. You'd want to get into the foundation stuff. So like rhythm and structure, this course called Rhythm and Structure is basically an analytical, this is an analytical figure drawing class, basically.
Quick thing to mention, just because I was actually on that site a couple days ago. For some odd reason, like the registration link was broken and didn't exist in their store. I don't know if that was just a fluke or if they just aren't offering the class anymore.
Figure drawing 1. Yeah, this one would probably be a good beginner class right here. Yeah, check out the course list. Some of these are 3D sites. Some of the 3D sites occasionally offer 2D stuff though too. If you do want to go into 3D, those are some good. Animation Mentor and iAnimate and stuff like that are really good. But keep in mind, like becoming really good at like core fundamentals, draftsmanship, and figure drawing is what will help you the most in as an animator. Well, before you really get too far into animation, because like if you're wrestling with the pencil and if you don't really understand perspective and stuff, and if you have like an poor understanding of like how to analyze weight and action in the figure or whatever, if you're going to be fighting the pencil and visually fighting to make your drawings appealing and stuff, you're gonna have a bad time doing 2D animation. If you want to go into 3D, there is a certain type of discipline and training you're going to be going to for that, which you don't necessarily need a 2D background for, but 2D animation understanding can definitely help for 3D. And you still need to understand like how to move a puppet around with the same level of depth and fidelity as if you had like a 2D background to an extent. Like you need to be a good observer of human behavior and human action and stuff. But a lot of 3D animators are also 2D animators. And these days there's going to be a lot more opportunities for 2D, 3D hybrid type work. But yeah, so those classes, like I'm planning on enrolling in stuff like that myself in the future when I get some freelance work or something, and then I can get more of a budget together to enroll in more. There's I want to enroll in like an analytical figure drawing class of some kind in the near future. But for the time being, for the time being, like what we're doing here is how I mainly train. Like this is like my off time. So we're going to start another figure drawing set very shortly. I'm going to have us move to 3s. So let's see here. Let's get that. These will be 3-minute poses. I'll pause it on that before we get started. So let's see. Yeah, I definitely want to maybe take more of a look at analytical like how those analytical figure drawing classes do their homework stuff. Because maybe I want to see if I can ape some of that. Like I can't enroll in one of those classes right now because I kind of need to like work up a budget for that first again. But yeah, I'm actually going to be taking a storyboarding class next month. That's part of why I'm doing like all that storyboarding prep stuff. So all right, we got this guy here. I'm gonna actually maybe, let's see here, let's change it to 5. Let me see if I can find him again, or pose like him, like a straight on torso. I'm gonna change it to 5 minutes, just for this little thing so I can do a demo. Let's maybe do like a draw along demo. dip our toes a little bit into some of analytical figure drawing. So maybe I can explain. Oh, here we go. Okay. So I'll give us 5 minutes, and I'll extend the time if we need more. But I want everyone to make sure you save your work if you're drawing in Magma Studio. And then I want you to draw along with me. So, you got this pose of this guy here. So we're going to start with an ellipse for the head. The ellipse is going to be tilted slightly like this because he's got kind of a casual posture to himself. It's going to be like a slight curve, like kind of like that. For his body. We're just doing a vignette study of like the torso and maybe the pelvis here. So don't worry about making the legs or whatever. Alright, so about here would be the pit of the neck. I want to say. Let's maybe get like the sides of his neck here. Something like that. C-curve sort of thing like that. Then from the top of the rib cage, let's see. Get this sort of rhythm here. To the top corners of his shoulders. That little bone that separates the joint to the shoulder right there. We just need like a little basic scaffold to hang the figure off of, basically using that little clavicle structure there. Then from the tops of the shoulders, we take that, go down to about where the pit of the crotch is. About here. Just get like a kind of a curvy rhythm like that. So his top of his torso is like tilted over this way just a little bit. I've exaggerated it slightly. But his pelvis is a little bit straighter. His pelvis kind of appears to curve towards us a little bit. Because of, probably because of the shorts that he's wearing. But I'm just going to use that to kind of build an abstract shape off of. So the next thing is you take the side of the neck here. Then you create another rhythm going down right here. For the side of the body. The side of the obliques right there. So what we are putting in here is kind of a quick sketch rhythm scaffold of the figure. So about here, let's see, and now we get a landmark about, so we got these landmarks here, they're like the top of the shoulders, right there. Then we got like the corners of the rib cage, somewhere around here-ish, I want to say, like around there. Let's get like this egg shape going in here for the rib cage. There. So the bottom of the sternum, right here, creates that opening for the front of the ribs going down to the corners of the ribs, right there. We're keeping this very much like simple abstract shapes as we're doing this, by the way. So don't try to overcomplicate it with like too much anatomy or anything. So I'm kind of ignoring the arms right now, but I'm going to put like some loose indications of them maybe towards the end. One thing I didn't include early on, let's go back up and do it. We got this like eye line right here that kind of curving over the face a little bit. We can create this little triangle wedge right here. Above and below, like for the brow. And the eye line. I'm gonna throw like a little indication of his ears here. This one I'm gonna favor a little bit more because there's more of the side plane of his head showing, basically. So let's see here. Slightly above the sternum there, I'm gonna put like a little line here to indicate the rhythm for the pectorals there. These go up about to where the arms would be there. And let's see, what else can I add? Oh yeah, so we got the corners of the rib cage. We correlate those down to the corners of the pelvis. What's happening here is there's like this kind of dish shape that's curving around here. Whoops. And for our abstract rhythm right there. And these are like the corners of the opening of the pelvis there. So as far as the arms go, I'm gonna create a little extension out over here, going into a slightly different angle on either side. And then I'm just gonna like hang some parallel lines off of the body here. So this ball and that hand cover up the torso, so I'm just gonna, this is as far as I'm gonna take this arm. So I want to concentrate on the torso. But this other one, I'm gonna maybe take a little further. So once you get like the two parallel lines going here, you get two more here for the hand that's coming towards us right here. The hand of the arm that's coming towards us. Creating a line that's wrapping over for like about where the wrist is, right there. There's another line right here I'm wrapping over for like the tops of the knuckles right there, at the base of the fingers are. Put like a little quick indication of the thumb. So this arm right here is basically a cylinder. And it is going away from us in space. I think it's bent back away from us. So that means we could see the tops, if we could see an x-ray of these ellipses inside the cylinder, we'd be looking at the top of the cylinder back in there. And I guess you could probably throw the ball in here. Just a simple ellipse, and then just like a very loose indication of about where the hand is. So because you've drawn these like really, really simple shapes, it becomes not too hard to kind of erase them and adjust them as you need. That's part of the reason why you draw like such simple lines. So like if you need to make fixes or changes, it's not too hard to erase it. Like I just adjusted the position of the arm very slightly there. Add some more to the chin there. Yeah, don't worry too much about this arm. You can potentially build into it if you want to, but I'm keeping it simple. That's more I'm concentrating on this pose. I think I like the pace of these 5-minute poses, although I did extend this one a little bit beyond 5 minutes. So let's maybe find another pose and maybe a really clear action pose. And have us move to the next one very shortly, so be ready. So let's go. Let's find a good clear pose that I can use. This one might be usable. Yeah, let's do this. So I'm having us start with this more structured kind of approach here, but we're going to also loosen it up later and get more into action. But first we want to start with like being very much more observant. So, as with the last pose, we start with an ellipse for the head. Pay attention to the angle of the eye. Wrap a line over the front of that ellipse, like a center line in there. Add a side plane. I'm going to add like the bun of her hair right there. Maybe add like some of the chin. This is interesting 3/4 view. So from that we have an opportunity to do a quick. So keep your pencil like nice and loose. So you're making very light lines. And try to like go down through the figure and sort of rough in very, very lightly, extremely lightly, the overall kind of feeling of the pose, like how it kind of bends in space and the underlying kind of like line of action and stuff, like the overall feeling of the pose. Just keep your hand really loose and light. Keep it like a really light touch. So now that you have that, I'll give you guys a moment to catch up. But when you do have that, start looking at the figure and start looking for those things that we went over in the last pose. I'm going to start with the pit of the neck. Right here. Got this clavicle here. I can see that roughly about the top of her shoulder joint there. Actually, I'm going to adjust that a bit. Shoulder joint is about here. And notice like the way her body kind of bends. I use that on the center line and the sides of the body. Creating this kind of ellipse for the side plane of the pelvis there. It's going to help me sort of wrap my head around what's happening. Creating another ellipse that's going to indicate like the shoulder here. Another ellipse over here for the other shoulder. Including like about like that muscle that's around the back of the neck, the trapezius. So, remember those rhythms that we used? Well, now we're going to use them in 3D a little bit. So we got these tops of the shoulders here. Those are going down to the pit of the crotch. Just somewhere up inside there. Let's adjust this a bit. So I got this kind of cube shape down here. It's tilted towards us, like so. Got a side plane right here out of that sort of rounded side that I made. From the pit of the crotch that's down in there, we go all the way up to the sternum like that. Kind of bulged out rhythm. This tops of the shoulders down to the pit of the crotch, we have another rhythm that goes down in there like that. Or like this, actually. Maybe a little bit more like this. From the side plane of the hips, going up to the torso, we have another rhythm. Oh, made us more time here, sorry. We have that same rhythm that comes at the top from the top of the side of the neck. Down through there. Same thing's happening over here, but we don't really see as much of it. But here you can already see that kind of a little bit of something I can use for like starting to form the egg shape of the rib cage. You got like the sternum here. Corners of the rib cage, like so. So we pull out some lines here from the pelvis. Parallel lines. I think my figure's a little bit small in the leg. That's okay. Let's build some more onto it. your initial gesture is something for you to play off of. You're not a slave to it, and you're going to be inherently making adjustments to make it more true to what you're drawing. But the point of the initial gesture is to get an initial read on it and to like not commit to your lines just yet. Like you draw really lightly, sort of get a sense of like the overall underlying feeling of the pose, where you like add more solid forms to it. My best thighs or legs that I've drawn to date. A lot of people are going to pick up on my bad habits if you try to follow me too closely on this, by the way. So, be a little wary of that, by the way.
Your bad habits are better than my good habits, so.
Yeah, well, you're all gonna have to unlearn a lot of bad stuff, information I've given you when you eventually get into a real figure drawing class. But I mean, like, inefficient practice is better than no practice, as long as it's not like practice that is going to like really hurt you. Lots of time spent observing the figures and stuff is good, is almost always good. But we got a pretty good starter scaffold for the figure. I'm just adding additional 3D shapes onto it. Like additional indications of things. This is basically a really slow motion quick sketch that I'm doing right now. This is a practice and a re-inventory of my knowledge of this stuff. So let's see here. Some things that I would do if I do it over again. Let's see. I'll try to work out the structure of the thighs and the hips a little stronger than what I got, for one thing. So I'm going to give us a little break, because I think that's been around close to 20 minutes. It's been like at least 15 minutes, I would say. I don't think I started a timer for these, did I? I don't believe I did. But I'm gonna let you, if you want to, you can continue like building structures off this during the short break. So I'm gonna set timer. Okay, Google, set timer for 6 minutes.
6 minutes, and that's starting now.
Yeah, I'm going back in and trying to like more solidly indicate the stuff that I was struggling with a little bit. Get this sort of socket in here. Yeah, this whole area here is kind of screwy. There's a few. I mean, the side plane of the body is fine, but like the whole way that the hips work is something that I kind of need to review and revisit for my own practice in the future. So just so you know that I handled that area a little bit clunkily, to say the least. So I hope that you guys don't absorb my cruddy habits from that. What brush do I use? I'm using just the Real G pen. in Clip Studio. Here, I think that's as far as I'm going to take that one. Yeah, I don't think it was a bad study. It actually looks a little bit better when I flip it. Like the structure reads pretty well. So I don't think the cylinder of the insertion here was handled the best, though, is the thing. That's the main thing that's throwing me off. And there's some other things with the leg that bug me. Excuse me. I can hear myself. Here. Makaru, can you push to talk yourself?
Well, that's good to know. The flip canvas function inside a Magma Studio only affects you and not the other users on the canvas.
Yeah. Sav, are you drawing on Magma Studio, by the way? Curious what you've been up to lately.
Are you talking to me or somebody else?
Yeah, I was talking to Zav. He just spoke up in Discord chat. Yeah, let's take a look at what people have been drawing. Maybe I can do some draw-over demos and stuff. So, that figure's looking pretty surprisingly well balanced. This leg right here, you guys, I'm seeing like a lot of like repeats of my sins because people were following along with how I was fucking up the legs and the thighs. So, let's see here. But the main thing I wanted you guys to get is like I wanted you to like wrap your heads around the idea of starting with like drawing really light to get like the basic gesture down and the overall feel of the pose before getting into the structure, because you get kind of like the feeling of the pose and that can kind of drive it. So even if the structure is a little bit weak, as long as the initial gesture is working, it can still sometimes save the pose. So let's see, maybe we can find a good example of that's going on in one of the poses somebody did. There's a little bit of that in here. I mean, I think like, here, let me try adding to this. There we go. All right, so let's be pose doctor here. So let's keep that pose on screen here. So the main thing to take away from how her body is angled is that if we're looking at her pose and profile, it's doing something like this, where like the components of her body are doing this basically. So that means like the top of the pelvis, the top dish of the pelvis is going to be tilted towards us, and the rib cage is going to be kind of tilted a little bit more down than it normally is, where we're going to get to see the top of the rib cage a bit. So that means that her buttocks is going to be very pronounced because she's carrying a lot of weight on the on her legs and her legs and her thighs. She's got kind of a wide stance because she needs to place her feet in a way that keeps her nice and controlled and balanced. She's basically kind of doing an exercise here. That means like the top of her pelvis is going to be tilted towards us in there. Let's see, I'm doing too much of the contour there. Okay, Google, stop. I'm going to continue with this demo here for a little bit longer. correlating the heels to each other. So I want to like kind of wrap my head around the fact that she's controlling her body in a very balanced manner because she's doing an exercise here. I'm gonna keep that leg simple, I think. Although maybe it will indicate a little bit of the front plane of it here. Her shoulders are actually rolled a little bit forward, I think. See, maybe I can use blue here to draw another layer on top. And then the elbows correlate to each other. Anyway, I could do the rest of the arm in there, but that's starting to get a little bit complex there for this fruit sketch. But I hope that kind of helps a little bit. The main thing is like you kind of want to get a good feeling. Like if the pose is feeling really awkward, if you draw no good ways in, then a lot of times it's a good idea to lower opacity on it and like repose things and stuff. Like for example on this, like, so I do kind of like how you handled the torso, but there's like a, okay, let's see here. It gets a little flat up in here, I think. So let's see here, maybe try. The clavicle should be about there, I want to say. Yeah, let me redo this pose for you here real quick. Do a draw over. So, a few observations about her pose, like, she's really sticking her buttocks out there like that. She's really going out there. She's really squatting. It's kind of the centered sort of balanced sort of posture that she's got there. And then her legs are spread out at the feet, going in two different directions here, so that she can maintain her stability with a wide stance. And like there's her thighs and her buttocks are being exerted to hold up her frame. And your guy looks like he's about to this pose is about to fall over backwards. So let's see here. Start with like the center mass. Work up maybe. Start with a really good rough gesture that kind of feels like it's got the weight in it. I'm drawing really dark right now, but like when you do your initial posing stuff, you can do basically kind of what I'm doing here, but light. Like a light touch. So that foot is going back over that, pointing off over that way. This foot is going up or this way. This demo is also a means for me to revisit the pose a little bit too. So this is also handy practice for me. So I'm going to try to avoid placing stuff about where you placed it if I can. It's always a danger when you're doing a draw over of sticking too close to the initial drawing. So her foot actually comes under her buttock a little bit. About here. I think she's squatting lower. I'm gonna beef up her torso side in proportion to her legs a bit. But you see, like, even with this rough sketch, it feels a little bit more like she's actually squatting than it did before. And that just becomes a matter of kind of adjusting and playing with it to get something that feels physically kind of like what you're seeing in front of you, or feels physically like something on the page with the character balancing or posing. But you get this kind of worked out before you get too far into like drawing shapes and stuff. Let's see here. Let me try something real quick. Let's see here. Add that layer in. Put this back here. Fill bucket. White. Or opacity. There we go. So now we got a little cleaner slate to work with, where I can define the shapes a little bit clearer. Anyway, it's still not the best figure drawing, but like for like a quick sketch where you're trying to understand something like this is just fine. Or getting a little, I mean, the point of doing these studies is to not to get the world's prettiest drawing. It's to kind of understand stuff and start breaking stuff down. Start getting stuff that like feels a little bit more like it's carrying the weight of what you're drawing, and then use that as a foundation to build up something like this. And I could take this further and further, and I could keep trying to make it more accurate and stuff, but I'm going to move on to the next pose because that's the point of quick sketch. So I kind of ate into our pose session with this. Make sure I save this demo. Actually, no, here, I'm going to copy paste that. Copy. This whole page needs to be saved, doesn't it? But yeah, like, if your pose is really, really awkward and stuff, you can always come back to it and basically do what I just did, like take a look at the reference again and try to draw over it again or redraw it and understand the gesture, where it went wrong, where it went stiff, and then try adding and iterating on it. So let's see here. Let's do that. Some people are asking questions in Twitch chat. I'm going to try to answer them a little bit. Just make sure this gets put in my drawing app. Okay, let's see. I'll start us with a 5-minute pose that we can sink our teeth into. Let's find a good one. I 'll 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 'l 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 ' There's a lot of good ones here. I'm hoping to find like a really clear pose I can use though. This one's pretty good. It's on the back, but we can use this to dissect. So we'll try this one out for size. I'm gonna maybe give us about another 10 minutes. Okay, Google, set timer for 10 minutes. Okay, Google, set timer for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, starting now.
So I'll get to the questions in chat in a little bit. I just want to get this figure started. Good way started first. So remember what I told you? Like, you start light. Kind of feel your way around the pose and stuff. Get like a sense of the action and the gesture of what's happening. That's good enough for me for now. I'm lower opacity on that, and let's see. Might maybe do another pass on the gesture here, but I'm gonna try to like, let's see here, like this. Try using like the Japanese cuneiform approach. I'm going to lower opacity on that. This is just to get me started. Remember, we get an ellipse for the head. I use an ear to indicate the side plane. Maybe I will indicate like a little bit of his hat. Bit of his hair. Alright, so I'm actually gonna like, since this shoulder is really close to us, I'm gonna use that as kind of a little bit of way to kind of me to build back. A little way for me to build back into like the top of the back of the shoulders and the neck. Just another ellipse back over there for the other shoulder. That's the arm back there. So this is I've decided that this is the back, just about. About here will be the hips. Right now I'm just kind of using like rhythmical shapes. Sort of improvising different shapes, rhythms as I go, based on what I'm seeing here. So we see his back. I'm going to indicate that a little bit more with a couple of indications of about where his shoulder blades might be. So there's an overall kind of thrust to his body that I maybe want to push a little bit more. Zoom back a bit, and I kind of realized that this arm's looking a little bit long, so shrink that one in a bit. His arms also, his limbs are also starting to look a little thin too to me. Maybe I should thicken that out somewhat. His head needs to be repositioned slightly. I normally don't like to do this, but I'm just going to do that. I've physically repositioning it. Should normally erase that and redraw it, but for sake of time, I'm going to do that. I'm going to give us a little bit more time on this pose to really pay attention to it. So this is almost like a 10-minute pose. I'm creating kind of a brick for his hand right there, like the front of the knuckles. Just like an indication of the finger. So let's see what's happening with his legs. We got this buttock that's kind of bunched up here. Got this other leg. Looks like his hips are shifted up a bit. So this leg is the leg that's carrying the weight down here. Down the way to the heel. Shoe that's down there. This other foot is floating in space. This leg is out away from the body a little bit at a different angle. Get a little indication of the top plane of his shoe somewhat. This is a really crappy leg. Maybe should have handled this as like one big shape. I think that actually works better. Because then you can like break into it with the different segments and components that it has. Instead of getting caught up in little bits and pieces. I'm going to go through and see if there's anything I can really adjust. It's looking really funky. So this is my let's plus it up pass, where I take note of mistakes or things that I maybe want to push more. And I do another pass over the drawing, seeing if there's anything where I can add more indications of things or push things or fix things. See here, there's this knee joint that's kind of bending here. This is more at an angle. This is like changing direction slightly. I've got enough down that I can like play with this as if it's a cartoon character that I design. So I'm gonna start going over it again. Only occasionally looking up at what was on screen. Let's give it a little bit more time there, actually. Why not? We've kind of gone right into doing like the 10 or 20 minute poses right now this evening. Okay, Google, stop. I'm going to continue on this through the break. Maybe, okay, Google, set timer 5 minutes. Okay, Google, set timer 5 minutes.
5 minutes, starting now.
So we have another 5 minutes to kind of work on these. I'm trying to put a little bit more character and personality into mine. But this is very animator oriented figure drawing that I'm doing now, as opposed to more analytical figure drawing that we were doing earlier. That was a little bit more kind of figure quick sketch mannequins that we were doing. Now we're kind of doing a little bit of that, but this is also like hybridized with some like animator story drawing. So I'm trying to put a little bit more personality into him. I was actually feeling pretty good. I have him now. This is very, very kind of like animator shorthand. Cartoon character quick sketch approach that I'm taking right now. Anyways, like this is something that you would like keep building on and maybe like adding more to, maybe push it some more and stuff. Example of how you might push things. Let's see, like playing with proportions. Example, like make his mullet really a little bit bigger here, for example. Should we make the torso smaller and the legs larger, maybe? Something like... Then make his feet really big. hat covering his eyes. It's maybe because his fingers and his knuckles really big. Okay, Google, stop. Okay, Google, set timer for 5 minutes. We're officially on a break
5
right
minutes. Starting now.
now. We'll start getting more into action and personality now for the next set that we're going to be going into. Let's try this. Right now I'm just like playing with trying to make a funny cartoon character out of this guy. Let's see here. Maybe I should do something really wild. Let me try this. Little tiny body up here. Little tiny pelvis. And his legs are just massive. Let's raise his leg up a bit more. Maybe like raise his leg up even more. This. Something that feels better for me for this pose of this guy. This is starting to get more into like character design type stuff, but this is also story posing. Let's see here. Maybe use a cheat of like a skew tool to kind of play with the forward thrust of this dude a little bit more. Okay, Google, stop. That luxurious mullet he's got back there. So we're going to start another figure set. And I'm going to encourage people to look for action and story to push. Maybe try something along the lines of what I'm doing right here, where once you get something that's working fairly okay, like this, like a fairly kind of reasonable overview understanding of the figure, start playing with pushing the story and the pose. So let's find something here that we can use. That might be a pretty good one, actually. Let's put it on 10 minutes for these. All right, so let's find a good pose we can use for this. That's a pretty fun one, actually. It'll be a vignette, and you can also maybe invent the rest of the legs if you want, if you're doing a cartoon character. But I think we can use this. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes, 30 seconds.
20 minutes and 30 seconds. Starting now.
So you do want to think in terms of action. Like, think about, like, he's headed in that direction, he's looking off over that way. So think about, like, what the story is of what's happening here. Like the story that his body is telling you, and that his body language is telling you. Start to give you stuff to play off of. So I'm going to go right in for like getting like the rough loose gesture in first off. It's got a lot of bulk added to him because of the shoulder paddings and stuff. That's something to definitely play with. But there is this kind of like, there's this kind of thing going on for the whole pose. This overall rhythm that it's radiating up out from, where he's pushing up from his foot off camera. And that's influencing the whole thrust of his pose because it's influencing the gravity and whatnot that's on his body. So I'm gonna just jump right into like playing with getting some kind of loose storytelling in here. I'm not going to bother with structures. Like we did enough. I did enough structure drills that don't really feel like I want to walk through those for this evening some more. I want to play with this stuff. I want to like get action in. So I'm looking for rhythms to kind of hook into each other to help me build out the body. And I'm thinking about it like I'm trying to create a cartoon of this guy. So while I am going to like I'm going to be observant to what he's doing and stuff and try to integrate some of that into what I'm drawing here. I'm not too worried about it being completely accurate. I mean, I'm trying to make observations of things that I might have missed or I wasn't able to quite capture that I might want to try to push more. But if you don't get them, that's okay. I mean, the point is to try, or at least make a mental note. Oh shit, I missed that thing. There's that quality in here that I would have liked to push or include in it on this this take on the figure. So this is feeling pretty good to me so far. So I'm gonna keep playing with him some more and keep trying to cartoonify him. I'm not going to really talk through this too much more until maybe I want to get into some more problem solving with it, because I kind of want to just go from rhythm to rhythm right now. FYI, football helmets are fucking tough to draw. So I'm kind of deliberately keeping that really, really simple.
On that note, think about how much the artist hated himself when he was drawing Ice Shield 21.
No, well, no. The thing is like, you can fall in love with drawing anything. And so like for Ice Shield 21, like it's very clear that the person that what's the name of the artist again? He's also did the One Punch Man stuff. He's fucking amazing.
I have to Google his name.
But yeah, like he is someone who you can feel the love for the act of drawing in what he does. Like if there's something challenging to draw, he jumps right into it.
Yusuke Murata.
Yeah, and it's like being able to realize stuff like with that level of like visual sophistication and stuff is like really makes it really jazzy and exciting to look at. Like the way he draws his like detailed football helmets. They're really fun to look at, and like they look like they were fun for him to construct. Because it adds so much depth to what's going on in the faces of the characters you look at. Let's take a look at that, actually. What the? Why does that look like McCree?
He is a character that comes up way later on. It's quite fun.
And this is a bat that looks like I'm guessing that's the team mascot or something, but that looks like Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, so the Devil Bat is kind of used as a personification of the rules book of football that actually kind of jumps on screen to explain shit like a lot, like over in the course of the episode.
So, from how he draws helmets, like for one thing, in this shot, for example, he only drew one helmet. But from how he uses helmets, he wraps them over the form of the head. So then the helmets become easier for him to remember. I think they're a little bit more simplified compared to how like an actual football helmet is built. But I'm sure he probably had like a football helmet on hand as reference when he was when he was working on the manga. 21 manga page. Let me see if I can find some manga pages. Here we go. Oh yeah, there's a lot of times where he cheats it. See, like he gets rid of some of the detail of the thing on it. That's a common cheat for a lot of different things in manga. Like you'll see like characters wearing knight's armor and things like that, where they'll just like ghost stuff. This is a more complicated close-up where like if he could have drawn those in the way of the guy's face if he wanted to, but he left them out. But yeah, I mean like this, he understands like the structure of this, so that he has it memorized the same way you might memorize like a limb's head or something. But he uses a lot of deliberate cheats to be able to see like more of the character's emotions and face. Because otherwise, like that would be in the way of their mouth. And here's what it looks like when it is in the way of the mouth. I'm going to definitely say that looking at iShield 21 would be a good idea. Thanks for that suggestion. So we might actually hold on to that stuff for maybe some study fodder for tomorrow.
Some of his action scene drawings in that manga are just like god tier.
Oh yeah,
like,
definitely.
I can't even believe
some of them.
half
They're
the stuff
amazing.
he did.
Oh yeah, no question, hands down. That guy's amazing. I actually think I want to read iShield 21, and maybe some of the anime actually did capture a little bit of his art too.
The anime was actually really good. I'm so genuinely upset that it didn't finish out the entire story of the manga. Like, they cut it just before the Christmas Bowl, and I was really angry about that because they never went back to finish it. Because I think they had caught up to the manga, and they were just like, we're just gonna cut it here. Like, why?
Yeah, let's take a crack at it. So we got that the double thing in front of the nose there. And then there's like the bottom cage sort of thing there. There's a lot more structure to it than even how he drew it in the manga, I think. I'm pretty satisfied with that initial drawing. So let's maybe find another pose. Okay, fine, we'll do Kobe. Why not? I was so surprised when he died, when he passed away. What happened? Was it like a helicopter accident?
Yeah, he was in a helicopter accident because he was taking his daughter to practice or something.
Oh. I mean, that's just what a fucking tragedy.
Oh god, yeah, that was
A huge tragedy. And for me, I felt it especially because like I mean, I'm not a sports fan, but I always did admire Kobe Bryant, like as a person and stuff, and also because he worked with Glenn Keane to make that amazing animated film about his like biographical film about his life. He was actually at the CTN Expo, which is an expo for animation, animation industry in Burbank. That he was there with Glenn Keane, talking about making of the film, and fielding lots of questions from like animators and stuff. It's pretty wild. What a tragedy. Like he was genuinely enthused with animation too. That was the other thing that was really cool. Like he felt he had a kindred spirit with Glenn Keane. For Glenn's passion about animation and motion and stuff. What a fucking tragedy though. So what's some good basketball manga? There was one in particular that...
So there's multiples of them.
Yeah.
A couple of the more recent ones is probably Kuroko no Basket. Some of the animation in that show is pretty god tier next to Haikyuu. The original one, which surprisingly, if you've ever read Vagabond, he is also the artist for the sports manga Slam Dunk, which is kind of
Slam
credited.
Dunk. That's the main one.
Yeah,
that I
it's
think of.
credited as literally creating the entire basketball like sport as a whole in Japan.
Hmm. That's pretty cool. Don't think American football ever took off in Japan because of iShield 21, but that was still a really good manga.
Actually, it did
It
kind
did?
of reinforce the X League, which is
Oh.
Japan's like professional football league.
Oh, that's good. There's a lot of aspects to sports manga that I enjoy. One of them is the fact that there's not really any real villains. Well, with some exceptions, like sometimes you do get characters that are like genuinely like horrible assholes or something. But for the most part, there's not really any real villains. It's a little bit more like real life. Like you just have to deal with people at their best and their worst sometimes.
Yeah, it's pure character development.
And the other is that I like the fact that defeated enemies will often come back later, or they redeem themselves or something. Like defeated enemies are never really, killed or anything like that, barring like sports injury that might claim their life or something in the story. But defeated enemies have character development and their own character arcs and stuff.
If you want probably one of the bizarrely greatest sports anime I think I've ever had to go through, Yawamushi Pedal, which is basically just a bicycling anime, which is about like literally the road race sport of like bicycling, like think Tour de France.
Yeah.
Some of the character development in there just like literally broke me, just like how good it was.
Is this the one where there's like this one character that is like vaguely implied that he might be an alien, but
yes,
as a joke? He's like
vaguely,
it's clear he's probably not an alien, but it's like implied just how weird he is.
Yeah, he's. If it's the character I think you're talking about, he literally has one of the most tragic backstories I think I've ever seen. Oh my god.
So it explains why he behaves so strangely. Basically.
Yes.
Okay. Kobe forever, folks. You'll be missed by all animators. I'm not the draftsman that Glenn Keane is, but I put a little bit of love into this little quick sketch study. It was just that passed away last year too. Yeah, that was part of why 2020 was such a terrible year. One of the many reasons why. And 2021 is turning out to be even worse. Isn't that great?
Yep.
That's the thing. Like when 2020 was like, oh no, that's all of what was happening last year was like, okay, all the structural problems that have made the world worse are just compounding and getting worse. So unless those get solved, which they're not, then things are just going to get worse.
On top of the fact the supply chain issue for all the chip shortage is still going on.
Yeah. It's a very cursed year. Yay, capitalism.
Like, the chip shortage is like so bad that I'm pretty sure that brick and mortar stores are going to make a huge comeback just in terms of the PC market, because I think that's probably the only way people are ever going to get parts. is to
Yeah.
have the majority of the supply go to brick and mortar for people who actually have to physically show up for one person per customer. Because I don't see any other way around
Oh,
this.
Micro Center's doing fantastically right now, and Fry's Electronics could have potentially saved themselves if they'd had the budget to basically do that, like reserve shit tons of cards and then like only have them available for like customers who show up.
Yeah, like I'm gonna have to kind of just like look through Micro Center constantly, whatever's local to me, and then try to get a new graphics card because I'm
Well, the
driving
thing
myself
is
nuts.
do you really need it that much? Like, if you have what's your current card?
It's a GTX 960.
I think you can survive with that, to be honest.
So technically yes. However, there
Well, let's
is
see.
one minor problem.
What's the modern equivalent of a GTX 960?
3060. RTX 3060.
No. I mean, like in terms of power. Let me take a
there's-
look. Yeah, so it's pretty down there.
Yeah, like I've needed to upgrade for a while, and the other reason that I figured out is that the whole cursor freezing glitch that
Oh.
I've been telling you about with the XP pen. So after back and forth conversations with their tech support, I was able to narrow down that it seems to be something specifically related to my hardware and the GTX hardware and the GTX cards, because anything that was supporting a 900 series or older was giving me the issue on multiple platforms I was testing on. However, anything that was just integrated graphics, no matter what year the chipset was from, perfectly fine. So they said that they're trying to figure out there's a way to fix it via firmware, but the easiest solution might just be to upgrade.
Mm.
So that's
Yeah.
where my rock and hard place is.
Yeah. I do have good news for people. Game companies are working to optimize games for lower end systems right now because of the hardware shortage. So like people with cards that are very old are going to get a lot more mileage out of them now.
Well, that's good. I mean, a good portion of the games I've been playing mostly now are just primarily just been indie titles, just because that's just where I've been finding my time spent most so far.
Yeah. The other thing is that if you have like a GTX 1050 Super or like a GTX 1060 or somewhere around there, like an RX 570, 560, something, you're fine. You actually don't really need a new graphics card. A new graphics card would give you, better performance and stuff. But unless you are doing some kind of intense graphical work. Okay, Google, stop. It'll work just fine for games or whatever.
Nothing's playing right now.
Okay, Google. Set timer for 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, to be
okay, Google,
perfectly
set
honest.
timer for 5 minutes. Sorry.
5 minutes, and we're starting now.
Let's keep it on Kobe.
Yeah, if it wasn't just for the whole cursor glitch thing, I wouldn't necessarily be as gun-ho about trying to get into it right now while the chip shortage is, but it's just getting really annoying having the cursor freeze every 30 seconds or so.
I've never drawn Kobe Bryant's face before, so he's kind of looking like Mr. Clean right now from this little profile view. Because I kind of need to get the full view of his face to kind of think about how I would caricature him. So I'm kind of leaving that as is now. But I'm working my way down here to kind of think about the structure of what's happening here. Yeah, feeling pretty good about that study. I do like the feeling of this guy. This guy feels nice. The football player. And the Kobe's pretty good. The legs are a little janky, but overall, feeling pretty good to me.
I still can't grasp quite the butt anatomy on how to connect the leg into that.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with that too. There is I actually have to do a review of hip anatomy. Let me see if I can remember some of it. Yeah, it's the way that the leg connects up at the hip. It's kind of throwing me, and I need to restudy it. But well, one structure that I've been using an awful lot to kind of simplify things is when you do like the cube at the bottom of the box, you just use like the bottom corners of the box for where the bone of the leg comes out, and by extension, like the thigh or whatever.
Now, if it was rotated on its side, where would you place it? Direct center?
I don't know. Yeah, direct. Actually, more like this. If it was rotated on its side of the box, you mean?
Yeah.
It would be. Yeah, it would be like here. Let me show you. Be about here.
Okay.
It's like kind of a cheat thing. You can I think you can actually get away with doing it just like. I think you can get away with like this. Technically too. It makes more of a booty to the skeleton, but this will work also. It's just a way to simplify like kind of the way the pelvis works of like you got this you got the pelvic dish here, and then you got these little ball and socket bones that are coming off the side here. And doing this. So it's the way to simplify it so that like it becomes like kind of this shape or whatever. Yeah, look for those opportunities to kind of use like simple curved lines, straights against curves, and ellipses and other shapes and cubes to sort of build off the figure. When you don't understand what you're looking at, sometimes it's a little bit hard to think in those simple terms. You kind of have to clear out the noise, and it takes practice to start thinking that way. So you got to like get fluent with that visual language from practice. It takes me a lot of warming up to really get into that. That's why I want to take those analytical figure drawing classes, because that'll get me tuned up a little bit more in that direction.
Yeah, I was trying to look at them, and for some reason, if you click the register button, it tries to bring you to the shop page, but it says it doesn't exist. And if you actually go to the physical shop page, there's only like I think 4 classes listed there. So I'm just trying to figure out like, is their server having a glitch right now, or are they just not offering them right now?
Well, you can always email them to ask. I mean, were you just interested in them, or did you actually want to enroll in one?
I was just kind of curious. I was just like looking around at different classes, and I was clicking on the register just to go kind of just like see what everything would be in with tax and everything else like that, but nothing was showing up on there.
So everyone here, try to get a class. Try a 2. Okay, Google, stop. Okay, Google, stop. Try to get a class budget together for taking 1 or 2 classes in the near future. Try to start saving Try to save around $900, I would say, but sometimes some classes will be offered for much less. But try to shoot for around like $800, $900 for a class budget to enroll in. And start taking a look at prices and and figure out how to budget yourself. Yeah, analytical figure drawing, that's a big one. For sure, I would say. That's going to be the next step for me, like taking my draftsmanship up a notch. We'll be enrolling in a class like that. But I do have access to like Michael Hampton stuff, and so it's possible for me to like reverse engineer at least a little ways into how they study analytical figure drawing. So probably see if we can do some of that maybe over the weekend. So tomorrow we're going to be doing some animation appreciation / analysis in addition to our figure drawing stuff. I want to start steering people in the direction of thinking about animation that they want to make, stories that they want to tell, or just like playing with motion stuff. So we're going to be taking a look at some cool stuff on Sakugaburo tomorrow, and start strategizing about what we want to do with animating. I'm going to be talking to a one of the Nils and a couple other people about putting together a curriculum for animation here that can potentially be a little holistic, where we combine it with figure drawing stuff and perspective stuff, so that in the course of practicing animation, you get like a good shot of figure drawing too. It's a really dopey face I got right there. This does not fucking look like Kobe. Let me see if I can do like a quick, like, loose caricature of Kobe's features. Kobe Bryant. Let's throw this off screen here. So Kobe's got this going on. He's got kind of a point to his head. He's got a big face. He's got kind of a rounded, pointed jaw, and he's got these ears that do this. He's got a big, happy smile. He's got easygoing eyes. And he's got a big, pretty thick neck. Not like a football player neck, but pretty thick. Something in that vein. This isn't the best likeness of him. This is my first time actually trying to draw him. So I'd need a few more cracks at him, but let's see what I can do.
I mean, I like the direction that's going right now. It's kind of fun.
Got very actually pronounced cheekbones now that I look at him more, so it's more kind of... It's got a very defined kind of... chiseled skull, I would say. Let's take a look at how Glenn Keane drew him, actually. Here, Glenn Keane. Kobe Bryant. Right. Here we go. Yeah, this is a film that's like full of like gesture drawing, basically. So if you want some examples of how to draw Kobe, Dang, those are fucking great drawings. And every one of these drawings is one of the frames of animation from the film, by the way. See? Some of those were kind of like still animated still frames, but there's also other parts where there's like movement and other things. Let me see here. That's really nice. This one has like a lot of the caricature features that go into his face right here for me, definitely. Younger Kobe with hair. If you wanted to like create a character for your stories and stuff, like you can look at real world figures, like, you know, sports players like Kobe, for example. Think about like what their life is like throughout different points in their career or their age, and then you can maybe model character loosely based on that. Like I'm interested in the younger, kind of more upstart Kobe from looking at those images with him with the hair. I'm interested like what evolved to make him into this man. The more kind of easygoing, self-assured, badass ball player. Do I have a list of classes by any chance? I don't. Oh, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like my classes? Or what? Oh, there's only 13 people here. There's like 20 or more people in here. I usually like to do a raid, but I think we'll hold off on that tonight. Oh, well, actually, no. 13 people is enough for a raid. We can do that. So stick around. I think we're gonna call it quits shortly, but I'm gonna assign a little bit of mini homework tonight. I want people to have. But here's the mini homework assignment I have for people. I want people to go to Sakugaburo here and just start looking for series and shows that you like, and try to find really interesting, cool, fun bits of animation for shows you like. You could even like just randomly go through things and find something that's interesting that you didn't like really. Whoops! Let's not do this one. I know what's happening there. I don't want to play that on my stream. Yeah, here's Golgo. Somebody put a bunch of Golgo 13 stuff up there. But I want people to find like interesting bits of animation on Sakugaburo to have ready for tomorrow, just to share, because then we can take a look at some of the stuff that people find really interesting. We might do a little bit of analysis to understand what's happening in them a little bit, but we're also going to do more figure drawing and stuff tomorrow. So yeah. Oh, let's see here. Did they have any Monkey King stuff? Lego Monkey King. Yeah, that was the new Flying Bark Studios show. It's kind of like they have the Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles people working on this. So it's a very hand-drawn, Sakuga-driven show.
It's weird to see something Lego in 2D and not the 3D pseudo stop animation that they do normally right now.
Yeah. kind of going way beyond what Lego figures are capable of. Sorry, kids, your Lego figures can't move like that. But imagine if they did release action figures that were based on this, or something that looked about like this, like about how they do in the show. I wonder how they would have try to fit them in the Lego system or something. Yeah. Not too much here because there's a whole season and there's another season coming up of this, but there's not too much uploaded here. That's fun. Anyway, yeah, so that's my homework assignment for you guys. Go to Sakugaburo tonight, and tomorrow we have a 2:30 p.m. class Pacific time. I'm gonna want you guys to bring smatterings of Sakuga to share. You'll post it in the drawing chat and share it with the rest of us so we can check it out. So now we're gonna see who we can raid. So I wanted to get to do more observations of what people were drawing in stream today, but got kind of involved in the demos. So let's see who we can raid. Let's try to raid somebody who's doing some interesting art. Well, he's Bardicky. It's one of my favorite Rust streamers right there, but we won't raid him. We'll raid an artist. Peter Hahn. Don't see too many artists that I follow running right now. Let's maybe see if we can find a random artist that has lower viewer count but has good art to invade. Let's try to maybe make a quick judgment call from the thumbnails. That looks like it might have potential. Someone who has around like 20 to 50 followers or viewers. Let's maybe raid them. Getting used to XP pen. Let's take a look at that. Let's animate. Not too sure about this little pixel blocky guy, but it might be neat. Let's see. Art study commissions. It's a Korean artist. So VTuber doing some modeling. Scroll up a little further. Whoa. Where are we, by the way? We only got about 15 viewers here, I think, so we're a good ways down. Let's see if we can spot ourselves. Here I am. Only 15 viewers right now. Oh well. Ooh, that looks neat. Okay, let's take a look at some of the people that we found. So, this person... Oh, they're not English language. Their art looks neat from what little I saw, though, so... Let's see. This person is English language. Okay. Oh, they look neat. Yeah, this looks good. Let's do this guy. Let's give him
Looks
a
like a
follow.
bizarre caricature of knights.
Yeah, but look at the really pushed caricature drawing. Yeah, I like this drawing style. Really pushed and stuff. So let's raid them. Gary Bear 87. There we go. Cool. Let's get everyone on board. Looks like we got everyone ready to go, so I'm going to bid you all farewell, and we will now raid their stream. See you guys there.